Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony,
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
and every week Steve Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way. And we try to talk about making comic books a little, but most of what we talk about, Steven, is all of the various things that happen throughout our week that kind of distracted us from that. Mostly it's random thoughts, it's just intrusive thoughts and nonsense and weird experiences that we have. And Steven, this week I've had so many of those that I don't know what to do with my mouth. Like, and I that's what she said. But like the truth, like I don't
There's
Steven,
so many weird things. I'm about to do some crazy stuff with my mouth.
Steven, okay, I'm just gonna give you but before we get into what we did this week, I just want to tell you, I have a UFO story, Steven, a freaking UFO story.
Read that, which is wild.
UFO story this week, Steven, not kidding. I have Steven, I got famous this week.
Saw that too.
I went
wild.
ultra viral this week, Steven. And then I'm not kidding. I can't oversell this. I learned something this week that has shattered my reality and broken my brain for the last several days. And I need to talk about it. And
Are you going to shatter my reality or am I going to be okay?
No, you're not. You're never going to be the same. We're going to go through this together. Like no. Best friends should. Oh, no. Steven.
Tina, what? Like, immediately after the episode, I need a divorce. There's things that we need to focus on.
Move. There's so many other things.
My reality.
It's very scientific. Steven buys yarn.
I don't want to put you and the kids through what I'm about to go through.
You can't experience this, Tina. You don't want none of this, Tina. But okay, so before we get into our ridiculous... Steven, I'm so sorry for what I'm going to put you through today, but I do. But let's just get this. So out of the way, how did we do this week? What did you do? What did you want to do in the comic? And how did you do?
I finished page 2, and then I wanted to finish page 3 as well, but I didn't. I added a panel, so I have 2 panels left of page 3.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm gonna call this one a total success because this is like the most work we've done.
Dude, like, that second panel, I thought that perspective looked freaking awesome.
It looked so good in the city. Like, dude, that city that you did, and like, I
got so many reference photos from New York because I knew he was gonna be running through the city for just a little bit in this issue.
I'm gonna say there's very little spoily stuff happening in these pages, so I can share this stuff. That's perfectly fine. So you can see Steven's incredible artwork, and like he's obviously been working really hard. And dude, it looks so freaking good. Like, I love it. I can't wait to like zoom in and see all the imperfections and text you about them one by one, Steven. That's what I'm gonna do.
Sorry, Tina called me.
Let me say this mean thing again, Steven, because I don't like that you just interrupted my mean joke. No, I'm kidding. Is Tina okay? Everything good?
Yeah, I'll call her back in a second, but I wanted to. But yeah, I did that thing though on page 3 where I was drawing, like the first panel, I was drawing that city background and I was like detailing and doing stuff like that. Yeah. And then I'm like, man, this is getting too tedious. And I'm like, let's just see, like, and I started zooming back out. I'm like, oh my God, it's so small. Why am I doing this? The printer's not even gonna be able to print this stuff.
Yeah, dude, I know.
I got to be careful with it, but it does add more depth in the long run. But yeah, but the last 2 panels of that page are more cool. They're actually more cool. I'm actually gonna try to take a photo reference for the one shot because I want to get that perspective of both people in the truck with Deathless running on the side. And the perk to having Deathless is I am Deathless, so I can just run beside something and get a little snap. So
oh man, all of those photos so bad.
But yeah, so I'm excited to. I'm like starting to like I said. You know, things are in order. I'm starting to get back into motion. Like the gears are like turning, but they're like starting to spin, you know, so that's good.
But yeah, dude, you did freaking amazing. I like returned to issue 4. For those of you who don't know, Steven is doing all the line work for issue 3 while I am completing writing issue 4. I'm trying to get through writing issue 4. I'll tell you, dude, I took a break to work in the script for a while, you know, like to work in the movie script. And then when I went back to the comic, I was like, oh no, what was previous Anthony doing? Because, you know, it's like, you have
to jump that. It's like loading a save file, like what Chris just did on Twitter. Like
exactly.
He loaded his link to the past save file. And he has no idea where he was.
Yeah, dude. And like, you know, because like I was making these little notes for myself and all this stuff that I planned on just like responding to right away. And while it was fresh in my mind, when it's not fresh in your mind, you have all this like weird, I don't know, like you have all this like these weird little abbreviations and like story, you know, details and nonsense. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to relearn whatever past
I
Anthony
gotta learn
is.
my legend,
I have
like the
to, yeah,
legend of like keys here.
yeah, I have to crack this freaking code, you know. But so it took me a little bit to like read what I was doing and get back in the script. But it was funny. I had a moment while I was doing that where I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. I like what he was doing, and it was really funny because I was just
He was
like,
on to
he
something.
was onto something here. Yeah, it was really funny because at first I was like, oh, I don't know. A lot of this issue takes place like almost the entire issue takes place in one room. Basically, it's one big room, you know. And I was just like, the previous issue took place basically in one room. I was like, this one kind of takes place in one room. I was like, I don't know. But then the more I read it, I was like, oh no, this is a perfect setup for like the next issue, and it's really good, and it has a lot of cool stuff in it. And I was like, this is great. So yeah, I
So
wrote 4 pages and got.
that's amazing. And issue 4, everyone, for everyone that cares. Issue 3, the one I'm currently working on, is going to focus on M, who is a badass. She's incredible. However, issue 4 is going to finally tackle Mary and Beryl, which I'm sure is going to be an insanely action-packed, chaotic issue. But what I was getting at is issue 5 is going to be Jeff, or are you going to wrap it on issue 5?
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil. like, well, I mean, it depends
Do
on
you
how
think we'll
many.
need 6 issues, or you think you're going to end it on 5?
If we could do 6 issues, I think the
I
book would be better. I think it would be a little
Okay.
bit better.
We'll probably just have to determine how fast we can get through 3 and 4, and then just feel it
Yeah.
out from there.
So I think we can do it in 5. We can do it with just one more issue after this. I think. I think it would. I always want to stretch everything out, but I also just want to be done with it. You know.
Yeah, it wrap it. But well, I guess we could just make issue 5 longer.
Yeah.
We can go like a play it
That's
again route.
that's very true, dude. I didn't think of that. Good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just make the last issue 40 pages if we
Yeah.
have to, or how
Yeah.
many pages you need to.
Yeah, dude, that
We're
makes
not.
sense. I don't know why. Yeah, we're not like held to any kind of structure from anyone. It's just us. So like whatever we could just make number 5 is the conclusion of the story. However long it takes, it's probably just going to be 30 or whatever. So I like that.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, so I finished the 4 pages. I'm getting back into writing it. I'm really liking where this issue's going, and like, yeah, I'm excited to finish this freaking book. I can't wait. And it's awesome. And like, I don't know, I was having a weird week this week, but I still was able to get something done, so I felt really good about it. But most importantly, Steven, I don't even know where to go here. I'm gonna go least important to most important in my brain. Least important, which I can't believe I'm saying these words, Steven. I saw a freaking UFO. I saw a UFO.
UFO is the least important.
Yeah.
Anthony's life has been wild, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. You guys, okay, so you don't understand. Like, Steven knows. I had a whole thing once where I sat everyone down in Steven's house, and I was like, if you ever see anything in the sky, don't be like, oh my god, be like, there, and just like yell and point to a specific direction, and I will look in that direction. I don't care. I'm gullible, but I need to know. I don't want you to be like, oh no, my god, there might be something in the sky. Like, no, just go there, and I'll go, what? And I will look.
Don't be John Travolta from Greece. There might be something in the sky.
Sandy, there's something in the sky. I'm rocking and a rolling. I mean, it could be Greece. It could be John Travolta from.
They could be, that car could be coming back.
Just fly. I love the idea. I mean, first of all, they died. We all know they died. I don't know when they died. I want to go into that at some point. We're gonna figure that. We're gonna crack that code. Maybe they're never alive. Maybe the whole thing is a limbo. But Steven, the reason it's not top tier on my list, seeing a freaking UFO, Steven, was because so I'm outside with Atlas. I'm outside. He's skating. He's learned how to skate. Unlike riding a bike, it's one of those things that he's like, oh, it's been a while. I don't know what I'm doing at all. I'm like, okay, we got this. Don't worry. Start step 1, skating 101 again. So we're doing it, and he's awesome. He's doing a great job. But while I'm like guiding him, and like, I just in the corner of my eye, I see something moving across the sky, and I stop and I hold him and I look up, and there's just a circle going across the sky, just like a black circle, right? And it's not too far away. It's like, I'd say like, I don't know, 3 houses, like 3-4 houses down, just going across. So at first I thought, oh, it's a balloon, like it's because it was like a perfect circle. I was like, this is, I was like, but it's going across the sky. And oh god, you know what's funny about this? Like, someone's gonna be like, oh, he's part of the Illuminati or something. I can't. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do butthole. Okay, like, no, it's just so weird. I
love how that is butthole though.
I'm gonna do butthole. No, so like, I see
you could do
butthole.
this.
I see this going across the sky, and I'm like, ooh, it's been a while. No, Steven, I see Steven, I see this circle, right, going across the sky. And I stop and I turn my son around and I go, look at that, buddy. And we look and he's like, what is that? And I go, it's a UFO. And he goes, no, it's not. And I go, well, technically, it's an unidentified flying something. You know, like to me, it looks like an object. I don't know what. And I was like, it kind of looks like a balloon, but not. Then, Steven, then it turned on its side and continued. And it was thin, like super thin, not like it looked so thin. I don't know what it was, right? So like it was this plain circle. It turned and it was just like this, like wafer thin, like crazy thin thing. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, what is this? And then it just turned again to a circle and it just started flipping up like fast, like just flipping, like head over to like just crazy, like head over foot, like just flipping like this, and it just went straight up like that, and then it straightened out again and just continued, and then it was just into the distance, and I was just like, what do I do with this?
So none of the things it was doing seemed to provide it with any additional anything.
I know. I don't.
It's like it was just having fun, but like.
So I was like, I've never seen a balloon act like that. I've never seen, but like maybe it was like a deflated, but like why is it floating so perfectly? And it was going, oh, I don't know.
And why was it so thin?
Why was it so thin? I don't know. Like that's what I was like, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. So I I'm what I'll tell you with absolute certainty is it was an alien and they were watching me and they're going to be back for me. No, I don't know. I don't know what it was. That's why it's the lowest on the totem pole of, weird things that happened to me this week, because I'm like, I couldn't tell you. Like, I wish I could say with any certainty that it was like some sort of intelligence.
It immediately makes you think, what military purpose would that have? Because obviously, living in America, your first thought is it's just some crazy ass tech that we have, and for some reason we're testing it in the skies of Southwest Florida. But
because no one believes us, everyone's on meth. Doesn't matter. Yeah, no one goes outside because it's so hot most of the time.
You can't even look up. You got to be watching your feet for gators and snakes. So. There's no time to look.
Pavement is made of lava, okay? Like you don't go outside here. I don't know. Have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever, or like not
the
even
only thing
like
that Tina and I saw the same thing one time, and it was strange. And it was one of those things where it was like it was nothing, but it was something. And the only reason why I even lent any credence or like there was anything like there that made me actually think that it was something was that Tina like got the same vibe and thought the same thing too, even though we didn't speak about it. Yeah, so like we were just outside of her grandma's house and we were looking up at the sky, and this cloud, there was no other clouds in the sky, and there's this giant cloud that just seemed to be like floating, but it just felt like it was like a mirage. Like I can't explain it. It just felt like it was like not a cloud, but it was trying to be a cloud. It was like some sort of veiling device, and like we both like got that same vibe from it, so that's why it was like, I mean, granted, I can't say it was probably just a really ominous looking cloud. However,
it's just like a spray painted piece of cardboard held up by an alien clearly floating through the sky.
It's not like cloaking technology. There is
cloaking device. There's nothing to see here. It's a mask.
The real predator, like the alien comes out. I gotta explain. There's no such thing as camouflage or cloaking. Like we don't have that technology. So like, what do your predators do? He's like, well, they just hold up these cardboard sheets.
And they got really like great art.
They got like 25 of them. That's why they pick environments that are one color, two color, and they just kind of shift through them as they're walking.
At landscapes, you should see. They like, look at how they painted the grass. Oh yeah, but no, dude.
I just imagine like a Bob Ross predator going. He's just like painting all the cardboards for the other predators.
Just there are no accidents here.
There's no accidents here.
No mistakes.
Only death.
So no, dude.
It's like there's a weird feeling that like sinks into your chest, and like I'd like to think I'm a pretty skeptical person. Like I something is told to me, and I think about what it could be, all the possibilities, and like I said, just the weird feeling in my stomach that I felt like we were being watched, and it felt something was wrong. Like it just didn't feel natural. And I just,
that's so weird and awesome at the same time. It's terrible. But yeah, I don't know. My whole life, I've been like, I want to see the undeniable thing in the sky. You know what I mean? Like, I want to look up and see something like hovering the way a brick doesn't, like just floating there, like, like just like, it's not supposed to be doing that. How is it doing that? And I'm like, it's a freaking UFO. Like it's a spaceship, I want to see that so bad. That this wasn't that, not like immediately, not for me, not that I can like consciously or like I can't say that, So I just it was a thing, and it wasn't, like you
And
said.
it did weird stuff, and I don't really know how to feel about it.
Exactly. It did weird stuff to my emotions, but everything does, Steven. And
It
speaking,
just it turns out that like it's both of us from the future. Like my clan developed like cloud technology, and yours like discovered dot flipping, and like those, it's like
top of
must join the
the
war. At some point in your guys' future, you become bitter enemies. You have two competing
I can
technologies.
see it. Just you when you're moving wormholes or whatever. Like, yeah, it's good, Steven. I can travel through time. I have this movable hole. It's awesome.
You just
Movable
gotta
hole.
become
Like,
one with the air, bro. Like I just like full on hippie like future.
Steven, okay, but I have to talk about this because like
Okay.
it's been a
So
crazy
so UFOs are done and over with. We are moving on to story number 2 up the totem pole of chaos.
of chaos. Steven, this week I accidentally became famous, and it was
Yes.
really weird. It was really, really weird.
It's so random how the internet just picks and chooses the stories they're going to be like this tickled all of us and we are
It's
all going to
bizarre. So, for those of you who don't know, I recently posted this picture of my son in a chicken costume and me looking on my phone, and it was for this funny contest that my friend was doing. She's a photographer, and she's a really awesome artist.
Jen followed me on Facebook and it broke my heart. Continue.
Well, that's what happens when she probably unfollowed me. I haven't even been on Facebook recently. Now that I think about it, but like, it's crazy. It's crazy how friendship works, right? How you like in and out of people's lives, and
Yeah, it's just
you
I
know,
mean, I was already so far removed
yeah.
from like the fact that I was even in the like her stratosphere was cool for a second. And then like, yeah, it made sense. I mean, you don't know who the hell I am. You've never met me in person. I drew you though in issue 1 of Deathless.
That's true. That's true. How dare you? No, but I'm just kidding. But I posted this picture, and I said like a brief bit about its history, where I was just like, hey, flashback to the time I made a chicken costume, and it led to me and my girlfriend breaking up. Like 5 out of 5 would recommend. Like, it was just like a silly like throwaway joke, and then a couple of people, like a couple of my friends on Twitter, were like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? So I was like, okay, I'll give some context. So I was like, I'll make a quick thread and I'll explain like what happened. So I made a quick thread, just like kind of like basically, I told my girlfriend at the time we'd been Steven. Okay, this is another. I'm gonna
Listen, I need to add notes. Like this girl was like such a small portion that like I mean like it's not like you were dating for like 6 months or something like this when this
no,
happened.
and
Like,
that's so like the weird thing about this situation for me is like I don't, like dating when you're dating and like you're going on dates and stuff. That's one thing, and then when you start a relationship, you're dating. So it's like what. I don't know. It's all weird. It's all weird. But regardless, this person and I were dating for a few months, couple months, like not very long. And there was a week where I was just like, okay, I feel like I need to recharge. Like I want to be home by myself. Like I'm that kind of person. Like I'm, like introverts and extroverts, all this stuff. Like I'm someone who's like, yeah, I can be social and sociable and stuff, but like I do need my time. Like I need to like, just like recharge, be home, like just do
that's why I'm
stuff.
up early every morning, dude. Like I need to I love everybody, but like yeah, I need like just Steven with his thoughts being
Yeah.
Steven.
So I was like, I just need some me time for a little bit, So I told her, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna stay in tonight. I don't feel like, seeing anyone or doing, I'm just gonna stay in. And she was like, okay, whatever. And my friend sends me a text message and it says, hey, I have an emergency. I'm doing this 24-hour contest thing, and you're the only one I know who could pull this off for me. If you could, I really need a chicken costume and possibly to use your child tomorrow. If we could take a picture. And I thought it was the funniest, most random, ridiculous like call to action ever. Right? Where I was just like, I'm home. And now instead of just being home working on my comics or whatever, I have to do this thing that's important to someone else, or it's like I could, if I, answer the call, to adventure. So I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, what do you need? So she's like, I just need a chicken costume. I need, your son in a chicken costume. And then like, you meet me at this place tomorrow. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I text my girlfriend. I was like, hey, this weird thing happened. My friend texted me and she was like, I have this, but I told her the whole thing. And she was like, oh, I thought you were just staying in for the night. I was like, No, I'd be like, I am gonna stay in, but like, I'm gonna be making a. I have to go out and get chicken costume material because I don't just have that. I'm gonna go out and get chicken costume material, come back home, and I'm gonna make a chicken costume. And she was upset. She was like, I thought you were just gonna stay in for the night. And I was like,
Right.
I mean, first of all, I don't understand that. I I'm terrible with this stuff. Okay, like I don't think it matters. Like I think like I need alone time. I wanted to, I'm doing this thing. I like if you're suspicious or if you think that I was going to do something else or like what well, I don't know, whatever.
Well, I mean, right then and there, the suspicion should have been like squashed because like instead of like trying to hide it, you immediately like, oh my god, this cool thing is happening. Like
Yes.
you're
Yes.
sharing it, like how this is like this chaotic thing, and I'm like,
Yeah. So like and like a lot of people, so when I posted this, so I posted this story, right? And a lot of people were like, oh, she should have come over and helped with the chicken costume. I was like, I didn't want her to come over and help with the chicken. I wanted to be alone. I just wanted to be alone. That's what I wanted. And like if I was to be alone doing my comic books, I put Game of Thrones on, drawing comic books, make a chicken costume, put Game of Thrones on, make a chicken. like
mm-hmm.
I'm just recharging. I'm just kind of vibing and enjoying my space, And I need that. I still need that. I always need that. And yeah, of course, there are other times like if she would have needed me, there would have been a priority shift where I've been like, oh, I'm sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
can't help you with your chicken costume. My
Yeah,
girlfriend.
like if she came to you with the exact same need,
Yes.
and it didn't seem like a bid to get your attention, even though you asked for time away, because I could see someone trying to pull something like
Yeah, I
that
see what
too.
you mean. Yeah, I see.
But you would have jumped too. You know what I'm saying? If I would have called you that night and
Yes.
told you I needed something
Yes.
done,
So
what you were basically were saying was, I enjoy what we have going on,
yeah.
but like I'm not because you are you, but you are a different person, especially when you're in the early times of dating someone new and everything. And you just needed a moment to kind of recalibrate and just be you for a second and like,
Yes.
you
Well,
know,
I 100% as an adult human person, especially as a single dad, like I don't see any trouble or anything wrong with someone who just needs to have some time to themselves. Like I think that's healthy. I think that's like a smart thing to do.
not to mention, like I said, I'm assuming since it was so early in the dating, like you guys were probably literally any moment away
Yeah.
from work or child, you were seeing each
Yeah.
other,
And we're
and
seeing each other. So and like
sometimes you just need a change of pace for a second.
yes, and
And
like, and that's the thing is like, it gets so exhausting. Like, I'm with my son, and I love spending the time with my son. But I'm with him from the morning until he goes to bed. And then when he went to bed, I would drive to her house or drive wherever, and like be with her and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, this is weeks and weeks of doing this, and I'm just gonna. I haven't been working on my comic. I haven't been like just taking time for me. So let's just do this. So like, regardless, I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna be inside. So I go out, get stuff, come inside, make the costume. And she wasn't very happy about it. And the following day we went, we took the picture, and then we ended up meeting my girlfriend, and we went to Chipotle and like hung out. We went to like a little park and stuff. And I felt like something was off like all day. Where I was just like, like what's going on? And then like so I texted her later, and I was we talked about it, and she was just not happy about that whole situation, and it just kind of just kept like we just kept bumping heads about it. Where I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like I still sincerely don't feel that I did anything wrong. I'm sorry. Like I don't know if it's like like we talked about like some kind of lingering trauma that she's had where she has trust, some kind of like issues with trust, or maybe she didn't believe that I was doing this chicken thing, but I was like, there's the most amount of evidence of this thing. I was just like, I made a chicken costume. Like this is anyway. So that's what happened. So then she got upset, and like it kind of just bubbled up until it was like, all right, well, look, this is the way I want to live, and obviously it's not the way you want to live with your partner. So I understand, and we're just not compatible people, And like there were, of course, other things, and like it's a relationship. It's more complicated than a tweet can suggest, And like, what are you gonna? But like, I wasn't explaining the whole story of a relationship. I was explaining the very funny context of a silly picture and like the story, like a quick story behind it.
and how this was the culmination that led to the inevitable breakup of
Yeah,
said
and
couple.
like, yeah, I'm sure that was just one of those like, here's a straw that broke the camel's back situations. Of course, there's stuff going on, but like, it's Stephen. Steven, this when I say it went viral, it was 3.1 million people saw it. Steven, over 44,000 likes, thousands of reposts on each of the thing. Like each post like on the thread had so many reposts and so many likes.
Dude, I was seeing like just some of our friends and stuff getting like hundreds of
Yeah.
likes just on their comments. Like,
But dude, I'll tell you, so I saw a huge spectrum of perspective that was like it was kind of freeing in a way, I have to say, because like I've had that level of like troll activity or just like I don't even know how to categorize these particular people. And I don't love categorizing anyone, but just like it's just like the other, like the element of another, like you know when like you post about Coheed and someone who only likes country music is like, that's crap. And it's like, why are you commenting on this?
why'd you stop here, buddy?
Why'd you stop here? Keep scrolling. This clearly isn't for you. This isn't you, like, you know, and I don't understand that like you lack the self-awareness, you know, that would lead you to, you know, just move on. Like, what are you doing? There's no reason for you to be commenting on this. But that being said, like, so I like normally I get that occasionally where someone's like, this is stupid. Who cares about werewolves or something dumb? And I'm like, this is depressing. And
Buddy, you need to ask your algorithm why there's werewolves on it.
Yeah,
You found me.
you're into something. I know you're hiding.
You're jerking to Jacob or something. Like something's happening.
Yeah.
Is imprinting legal? Is probably what's happening,
God,
unfortunately.
so, dude. So I was.
Yes, I called all trolls horrible human beings. Continue.
So I looked, dude, and I saw the majority of people just had the reasonable response, in my opinion, which is just like, oh, that's a funny story. Like you guys clearly weren't meant to be together, or like, you know, like I see, you know, or people saying like, oh, I would have responded like this, or like, oh, like, you know, whatever. But Stephen, there is like a minority, but like a very vocal minority among those people sharing it who hate my guts, Stephen. Hate my guts so bad. And it's so funny. Like it's so funny. Because like they're wrong. Stephen, they're so wrong. It's like, and what's really funny about it is the level of like presumption and just like general projection that people are like going through. And it's interesting to see, you know, because people are just like, oh, he's giving attention to another woman and not his woman and choosing choosing her over her. And I'm just like, no, I didn't choose her over my girlfriend. I was spending time by myself. And instead of making comic books, I chose to make a chicken. That was the choice that was made there. It like, what are you talking about? Like, this was my girlfriend, but it wasn't as if my priorities were such, or like that my options were such. I was like, oh, I could hang out with her tonight.
No, wait.
Or this.
Maybe I'm assuming incorrectly because this is how I'm envisioning it. Is that you were called, but you made the costume at your house by you.
Yeah,
it's not like another thing. It's not like Jesse met up with you. And
no. So okay.
So like you still did what you said you were going to do. It just was working on a costume for yourself.
Yes, I literally, dude, and like, okay, so like, I sat in my room watching Game of Thrones, and because it was like the heyday of Game of Thrones, you know, like I was sat in my room watching Game of Thrones, and
season 6 hadn't hit yet, you know.
Yeah, and I was just making a freaking chicken costume, and it was the best. And I had so much fun. I had so much fun making it. I felt good while I was doing it, and it's like that's the kind of project that I'm not great at working with others. Like even like had my friend asked to help, I'd probably be like, nah, I'm sorry, I can't. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm gonna figure it out. Like I will improvise my way through a chicken costume. I don't know how to like dual improvise our way through a chicken costume because like I'm gonna put some hot glue here and I might hate it and then rip it all up and figure it out later. I don't know what I'm doing at all.
It's the first time I'm making a chicken. I'm not chicken. You know, my grandfather, chicken costume extraordinaire. Me, not so much.
Yeah, he's a. Yeah, I've never like he has a whole coop of chicken costumes. My whole family.
Let me lend you Old Henny. What?
Old Henny. I like the idea that I don't have a family tree. I have a family coop. Like, just a bunch of just nonsense.
Now, Old Henny may have some stains on it. There were things that Grandma liked it too with the costumes.
The costume stays on. The chicken costume stays on, Steven.
Let's just say we invented cuckolding.
Oh my gosh. And that was
because I cut
oh, I
cockle
got it.
That's what I was going for.
It was very good. That was very good. But dude, like, it was hilarious though, because I got to see this really interesting series of perspectives that like couldn't be more wrong, you know? And I was just like these are the presumptions that people are willing to entertain for
and
themselves.
you can see it happen. Like I see it happen even on memes and stuff like that, like on different, like not even just Twitter, like where people see something and then what is basically happening, or what I'm identifying as happening, is they have some sort of personal stake in one of the details.
Dude,
one of the details of said meme, picture, whatever, something happened to them in some way. So then they completely fill the emptiness of the meme that doesn't explain everything about it, and they fill all the nooks and crannies that you can't see with their own information, and then they get mad because they're basically reliving a moment
like one of the
happening.
Yeah, like one of the more popular dissenting comments was like, oh, he's being intentionally obtuse, like acting like he doesn't know why she was mad and like blah blah blah. And it was just like, I told the story. I don't believe she had a
he is being as acute as possible.
Yeah,
okay,
thank you very much. But like I was like, I sincerely, wholeheartedly don't believe she had a reason to be upset or jealous or mad. If she was, that's valid, but you talk about it. You say like, hey, I'm feeling this thing because I guess you don't even have to explain it really, but they're going to be reasons, like you said, like it's going to be some sort of like trigger, situation where it's like, it's like she had a traumatic experience at some point and like, she was cheated on, or people lied to her. Like or like maybe she just needed more attention all the time. And again, more than I could give her, which is what I concluded with in my thread, where I was like, in the end, it was just like I obviously couldn't give to her the thing that she wanted someone to give to her. And like, of course, it makes more sense to you. Like, you break up with, like not every couple is meant to last. It just doesn't work. You can't just be like, oh, well, and if that were the case, then we wouldn't have romance and relationships at all. We would just choose a random person and we would be paired up,
and then it works with anybody.
So it works with anybody. But that's obviously not the case. So like, why are you arguing? Clearly what I said was true. Like, we weren't meant to be together. Like, we weren't like what I have to offer or had to offer wasn't for her. And that's
okay. And then let's just say they get to that point of the discussion with you mentally, then they're going to be like, well, then why were you so bitter about her breaking up with you over a chicken? It's like, no, that's the thing you're missing, man. Is this whole thing was a joke. It was a silly little nod to my past.
That's another thing is people are like, oh, look, he's still posting about it 5 years later. I'm like, I got a memory on Facebook that showed me a chicken costume, and I went, hey guys, remember that funny thing that happened? That's what happened. I'm not harping on this. It's not a thing I think about often.
Yeah,
it was
like literally one of the only things Facebook is good for still is these random like time hops or whatever they're called. And
dude, so I was just like, so I got to experience this weird amount of like popularity where I was just like, I scrolled, Steven, I scrolled looking for any celebrity or anyone who may have shared it, because I don't understand. What I do understand is that there was like contention, like there was like controversy, because there were people who were like, this is funny, and what he did was fun and whimsical. And then there were people who were like, he's a bad person, he was probably cheating on her. Like, so like I get it, like that kind of like you have those contrary opinions, and it's going to keep like feeding itself. It's like a ladder of just frustration, so I guess that's what happened. I still don't understand why 3.1 million people saw that particular post of all of my freaking posts. It was
the other people that scroll past it. Why are they arguing about a chicken again? Like, what's happening?
And like, yeah, dude, it's so weird and so funny to watch people I never interacted with argue for and against me. It's really weird because I was like, no one.
So they basically both have created a version. It's so funny because what's just happened is both the positive and the negative have created a version of you that doesn't exist.
And it's
to attack the other one that doesn't exist.
It's so interesting. And the only reason I even posted that context at all was like, my friend Gwen was just like, like I kind of want to know what happened, or I was like, oh, okay, let me give context so people know what happened. And I just like quickly wrote like, here's the story, and it just freaking caught fire. Like, what the heck, you know? Um, but Steven, I feel like I don't know. I hope it happens again with something that's actually meaningful. You know, like just like I just once one of our podcast posts or like something, just someone I don't even know if we got any new subscribers from that, you know, like that would be nice, you know, but I don't think so. I don't think it ever works out that
Well,
way.
what you do now is you post a link for this
From this,
episode saying this is the chicken
here's,
explained.
here's the chicken explained. We're gonna crack that egg for you. Make an omelet. No, they won't
Literally
make
make seriously, dude, make the thumbnail of this episode the picture
the picture.
and then just share it. And just let them be like
The
watching.
truth behind the chicken. Which came first,
Let,
the chicken or the asshole? What? Come on.
let them watch 20 minutes of me discussing divorce with my wife on the phone and our comics before they even get to hear about the chicken.
I love it.
I don't know what's happening with these chickens, but I mean, both these dudes are they're just messing up left and right.
Oh, it's divorce chicken. Like, oh, it's just such a mess. So you can see why my family comes from a coop. Speaking of that, Steven, speaking of that, which is accidentally the best segue, the greatest segue of all time. There's going to be no better segue, Steven, because what we're going to talk about today, Steven, this has been breaking my brain. I have to get to this so I can edit this. I have a lot to go through today, but Steven, let's do a monster test real quick. Let's do a monster test.
Ooh, monster test.
Give me like a.
Oh, is it? I think I know what's breaking your brain. We lightly discussed this on the timeline. All right. This is the song, by the way. This whole like little spiel right here. This is part of this song. But then the drums just start coming in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you grab your number 2 pencil and you grab the sheet from your teacher's desk. She's like, hey, you guys know about monsters because you're about to take a monster test. Fuck, that was good.
That was good.
It's monster test.
my favorite part, every time I've heard you do that song, I'm like, we know what's coming and it's gonna hit. Like, here it comes. It's gonna feel so good when you get.
Oh, he said desk. It's not a perfect rhyme, but he's gonna rhyme off.
Rhyme off it. It's close enough.
It's close enough.
Like, I love.
It sounds like it's got the ES sound with a.
Yeah. I love it. It felt good for all of you out there. If you've never seen our monster test segment, what we like to do is we bring up a monster, a creature, something like a boogin that's like an oogie boogie that's popular or known throughout history, and we talk about it a little bit. We try to get to the bottom of what it is.
We examine all of its bugs and kind of really get into it.
We unwrap it, let the bugs fall out, and we count them. That's how this goes. And this time, Steven, we're going to talk about friggin' homunculi. A homunculus, Steven.
Ooh.
Homunculus. Okay, so first of all, Steven, I fell down the weirdest rabbit hole with this one, and I need you to tell me what a homunculus is.
I was actually just going to say, bro, I don't know what one is, but when I hear that word, homunculus, I'm imagining some sort of like leather-bound book. That's what I'm seeing with like an eye. Like I must be mixing it up with a different word.
Book. Yeah, that's okay. So a homunculus is supposedly in ancient times, alchemists would create miniature people using various scientific methods, and they would create small human life forms, occasionally with various abilities or powers, or who were known for their inherent artistic traits. And
so Deathless is a homunculus.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, kind of. No, yeah, because he does come
the
out
initial
of
statue, I guess,
statues and stuff. Yes. So, Steven, I've heard this word. I've seen like what was it? Full Metal Alchemist. They use like homunculus, like some of the villains and stuff. I was like, okay, I know it's like a creation of like flesh, like some kind of like being, you know, that comes to life. And like, I don't know if it has a soul or doesn't, or like what it is, or if it's conscious, if it's, you know, but like I know it's supposed to be like this little thing. So I was like, I'm gonna look into this. And dude, okay. So I was like, let's go to Wikipedia, you know, where you go for like random information, you know? So I'm like, all right, Wikipedia. And I start going through, and it's like history of homunculus. And I was like, okay, that's
History is a strong word,
history
Wikipedia.
is a strong word. Okay, Stephen. So, but the thing is, Stephen, the reason that it begins with history is because there is a very long and like documented history of people trying to create life in beakers and such, like, and just do whatever they can to
So
create.
Frankenstein has been trying to make monsters for centuries.
Exactly. So, like, in Frankenstein's monster is essentially like born of the idea of a homunculus, like creating life in the lab. So, Stephen, so I was like, I was reading and I was like, okay, how does it work? And there are passages from ancient notebooks of these supposed alchemists and scientists that say explicitly, here are the instructions for creating life. And there are a couple of different
Now, I just want to say, like, if you're gonna write like how to do it, it means that you may have succeeded in some regard.
That's
right?
what I'm thinking. Like, okay. So, but Stephen, here's the thing. So it's like,
this is my homunculus. It's like it just cuts back to the past. There's a bunch of like people like play with shit. Like, yeah, this is my little...
actually, Stephen, you're not far off. You want to know why? You want to know why, Stephen? So what it says, one of the things it says is, first of all, they all have to do with human sperm, Stephen. They all start off with human semen. So
that expectum patronum spell or whatever I was saying earlier.
That's right. So you take your expected patronum, and you
let's call it expectum petroleum, like almost like a oily.
So bad. Okay,
yours is oily. Anyway, sounds good.
So you take your petroleum and you put it in some sort of organic material. Occasionally, they would use chicken eggs or eggs, and they would inject it into.
I'm getting like the craziest visuals right now,
Steven. So they would inject it. They would inject it into eggs, and then supposedly put those eggs or whatever material they use with the sperm into like an incubator wrapped in like either a horse womb or horse manure, and let it.
So I'm guessing their thought process was, it needs the warmth of like a hen, but since it's a mammal, it needs the warmth of a womb too, and we're gonna.
Yes, and it said you have to keep it in this warm space for 40 weeks, and they're
so ripe when they open it.
I know, dude. They're composting, Stephen. They're composting.
Composting. You smell that? I don't wanna.
I'd like to never smell it again.
The thing it came out of was already smelling not the greatest because it's the year 1300.
Like, that's so true. Dude. Okay, so they said you have to do this and you have to feed it. You have to like douse it in blood and other stuff for a while, and eventually what
why not a little bit more? Just a little bit more.
God, that motion
just a little more. I don't see if it would hurt it.
Yes.
Imagine like he wakes up at 3 a.m. He's like, okay, gotta feed the homunculus. He cuts his wrist and starts he's dripping blood. You gotta feed it. You gotta feed the homunculus. This man is crazy. He's like spitting on it too, just giving it whatever fluids he can give it.
It's just a little shot before his moment. He's singing to it.
This is actually how every kink was born. The creation of the homunculus
was every kink. Oh God. Okay, so when you're done,
it's the genesis of kinks, really.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so when you're done, doing all the stuff and basting your homunculus. When you're done,
you need to make sure to enjoy the basting process. The homunculus can feel your energy. So,
can you imagine the recipe page for homunculus, like talking about his life and how he's just like, oh, I've always really wanted a friend, and like, sometimes I fly kites and it's great. And talking about
so, anyways, you're gonna want to jerk your dick over an egg. I remember when my grandfather and I used to spend summers over by the river. So, anyways, you're gonna want to grab your dick.
Yeah. I can't, Steven. Okay. This gets so much weirder, guys, and I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Like future our children. Like, I love you. We love you. This is so funny, and I'm so glad that you're here to witness this right now because Steven, it says then that this creature will begin to move and will resemble a human child, only much, much smaller. So a tiny human child. And then you have to feed it blood and other liquids, but not.
Let's change the liquids we give it now that it's a baby.
Based on the fact, yeah. So dude, so like essentially you have to feed this little vampire some blood, and it grows, and eventually it becomes a conscious little person, just like a little guy. And like so supposedly they're like, oh, they were good at art. Sometimes they could see the future. They could do all this stuff. Now, Steven,
can you imagine that birds and the bee talk though? Like at 13, Dad, where did I come from?
Where did I come from? Well, that's funny that you use that term because where I came, you showed up. It's always that. That's always the case.
It was all about draining the wrist and draining the snake. That's how That's how you came to be.
I have to read you this passage from Wikipedia. This is under the history of homunculi. Okay, homunculi. In 1775, Count Johann Ferdinand von Kufstein, together with Abbe Galoni, an Italian cleric, is reputed to have created 10 homunculi with the ability to foresee the future, which von Kufstein kept in glass containers at his Masonic lodge in Vienna. Dr. Emil Bessini's Masonic handbook, Die Sphinx, devoted an entire chapter to these scrying ghosts. They're reputed to have been seen by several people, including dignitaries. It just says that in the Wikipedia. It's just like, oh, these things existed, and they're reputed to have been seen by several people, including highly authoritative people, like people with some stature. And like, Steven, it gets worse. It gets worse, Steven. It gets worse. It gets worse. First of all, I looked up the book. I was like, I gotta find this book. And I found it in German, which like I didn't find the whole thing. I found like a section about that. And I took the pictures and I plugged them into the Google. Did you know you can do Google Picture Translate? It's super cool.
Yeah, like, where they look up like other images online.
No, like, dude. So, like, if you have a picture,
it translates the text for you.
It translates the text, yeah. So I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. Like, thank you. Like, finally, like, computers like do something cool. They're not just stealing. I mean, they're probably stealing jobs because I could have called a Giles, but that would have cost me money, and I can't afford it. Rupert, I'm all for AI now, people. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding.
Kick it, the Watchers.
But like here I am in the middle of the night. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, homunculi. How do I read German? So I freaking, I feed this picture into this thing, and it's like, oh, here's your English, like stupid, So I'm reading it, and like it was very interesting because like it's clearly written by someone who's skeptical but interested, and it's just like there is something going on here, and it's very odd, but it's something that I can't deny. And it's just like it's very awkwardly written. I'm just like, I want to see this original text. Like I need it. And I was like, I don't know if I should believe this. What is it? But first of all, it's just written as if it's a real thing, as if it actually happened, as if it's a matter of fact at the bottom of the history on the Wikipedia, right? And I know what you're thinking. Oh, anyone can write Wikipedia. Like someone probably just made up all that nonsense, and it doesn't matter at all. How about this, Steven? How about this? The Guinness Book of World Records has a record for the tallest homunculi, and it's one of the ones that guy had in his Masonic lodge.
So,
yeah, I know. So that means they exist. That means it happened. That means okay. Not only they're like, hey, we've measured up, and it was 11 inches, by the way. So it was like a significant homunculi. And I was thinking, like, okay, this guy has like 10 of these in a jar. Maybe Steven, maybe it's that old joke. Maybe he has a genie, and he's been trying to get an 11-inch penis for like a week. He's like, I need an 11-inch penis.
They keeps getting like the.
It explains why they're so good at art. It's like, oh, he's really good at piano. We can't explain it. Like, oh, I'm gonna try again. Just like, like, is that where the origin of that comes from? What, Steven, what does this make you think? How do you feel about this? Because this is the Guinness Book of World Records official website lists this as the tallest homunculus. Why? Like, what does this mean?
That has to infer life, right?
It has to. It definitely suggests that there's some sort of credibility behind these creatures, whether or not they're absolutely proven, I can't say, but like freaking Guinness seems to think it is. Like Guinness thinks it is. Steven, like it's been blowing my freaking mind, and I don't know what to do about it. And
it really does make you wonder if we stepped into another universe and like we just haven't fully learned all the laws yet, Anthony.
Yes.
like the bucket really did happen, and homunculuses are real here.
Like, that's exactly what I was thinking, because like it's
if
exactly,
Puppet Master is real in this universe, I'm fucking terrified because that movie scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I've never in my life considered injecting my sperm into a chicken egg as much as I have this last week. Are you kidding me? Like, all I've been thinking about is like, where am I going to get this horse womb? I don't have a horse.
Okay,
I need a bunch of horse manure because I'm making a little me. Like, it's about to happen.
Let's break the record, bro. Let's get an ostrich egg and let's have a big homunculus.
A huge munculus.
A huge munculus.
Let's make a huge munculus, Steven.
Dude, what if we accidentally create Coacula? Like, it actually hurts. Like, you have a way. Like, the podcast, the comics, it's all led to me. We're like, holy shit, this is real?
This is real? We did this? We brought on
we summoned the ostrich god? Why is there an ostrich god? To battle the hippo god. Duh. What? There's other...
We should have known, Steven. We should have known.
But seriously though, like, that's so, like, why are you wording it this way, people?
Like, it doesn't even say, like, I mean, it does say like purportedly, but but they make a point, like they lean on it was seen by several people and also these dignitaries, and like I think what lends the credibility to that is just the fact that there's also this Guinness Book of World Records record. Like, that's so weird.
That's like strange that. Why? Like, what are the terms? Like, what makes it? Does it have to be alive to be considered for the record? Like,
I think it does. You can't just make like a meat.
I mean, otherwise it's just you just jizzed into a pile and showed people, and that's weird. Although 11 inches tall of dry jizz might be an impressive feat. You know,
I mean, that's the Leaning Tower of people. I don't know what that is. Like, it's
how many terabytes of information is in that pile, son?
We're gonna hack the planet with this amount of jizz. Are you kidding me?
So, wait, are you saying everything's just always has
been? Steven, but like,
he shoots the guy. The actress comes out of the gun.
But it does. It blows my mind a little bit because I'm just like, I've never like I would have put homunculus in the category of like fantasy, like silly nonsense, like pseudoscience, where people are like, you know, like trying to do something that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, all right, yeah, that was never going to work. But here we are with a world record size of the thing. A homunculus doesn't exist unless it's alive. Like you said, like, you know, it's so like what. So I commented on the world record page, and I was just like, wait. Like, what evidence is there of this? Does there not have to be evidence? Because I created the tallest homunculus. Can I please be in this book? Because, like, you have to hold us to the same...
Masons come to your front door like, let's see your homunculus. What?
I hope they do. And I will show them my huge homunculus, Stephen. We will get at this.
Why do you think we're called Freemasons? Ooh! They're coming to my door now, and I'm not going to make it out of this one alive, Anthony.
None of us will. Next week, this is just going to be the Freemason podcast.
Don't worry, your buddy is being milked for the homunculus. This is weird.
Yeah, we meet on the level. We part on the square here. But Steven, I don't know. It's just been breaking my brain because it's like, what does this mean?
I can.
What does this?
How? Because my brain keeps going. It's not real.
It can't be real.
It cannot be. But they're saying history. Word history.
Yes, and yes. Now here, obviously, it's Wikipedia. Anyone can, add to those articles, but they are pretty good at scrutinizing that stuff. And the problem, I think, is the information is posted as purportedly, and also given credibility by several websites and who are basically reporting the same information. But then doubling down on it is the world record, where it's like you have this establishment that's known for, of course, some absurd records and some, ridiculous things, but also like sincere records that people try to break every day and do that, like it's a real thing that people like hold
and
true
it's
and dear.
just outside of like the size scope to where you could almost say like, oh, well, maybe that guy
Yes.
collected like the shortest people in the world and
Yes.
called them homunculuses. But no, 11 inches
11
is
inches.
way too short for a speaking thing or an
There's
existing.
there was I don't remember how tall he is. I should look it up while we're here just so I don't have to like do it later. But there was a movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau. And in it, there was this teeny tiny dude. Okay, he's like this big, and I'm pretty sure he passed since. But he seemed really sweet, and from what I saw in the documentary and stuff, like he was really, really nice. But he was tiny, and I don't know if he was the smallest person ever, but he was able to be put in a glass, basically. Like, yeah, I could see it. I could see, so I could like, or I could see them saying like, you put him in a glass and say like, oh, the way the light's hitting the glass, I've made it so you can see his features more clearly. But it's all but
I mean, if homunculi are real, that basically means vampires are real because they're blood drinkers to become.
that's true.
And it also locks down like mysticism as a whole, like the mutants, like X-Men. Like I mean, it just they all have different power. Like I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
yeah. So, and that was that. Oh, that whole thing about like the homunculus, those 10 homunculus that he had in those jars could see the future, supposedly. And like, okay. And a bunch of people saw this.
Yeah, because like I'm just impressed with the 11-inch being that you created from a chicken, egg, and jizz. But
right?
you're telling me this thing can also see the
Also see the
future?
future. Like, are you saying that I just had to be a little more chicken and I would have been able to see the future? Like, that's insane to me.
That's
Oh,
wild.
so this guy was 2'4" is how tall he was. So I
So
mean,
yeah, I
it's not
mean,
11 inches, but it's 2'4". It's pretty, like
two
that's
foot four is only 28 inches tall. I
20.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty small.
that's
So I don't know. Dude, I don't know. I just know that I've been thinking about this and I've been thinking about like why aren't there more movies? Like why aren't there movies of this and like stories about like people trying to like not create Frankenstein, which like obviously there's endless,
not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it literally makes me think it's one of those things where it's just like the absence of focusing on this type of thing as a fiction keeps it hidden in a way that like people are just gonna think you're crazy if you research it. Like
well, yeah,
it's
dude, that's
too
true.
dangerous to even joke about or even bring up because it is possible. So
Yeah.
like
So there was another thing in the homunculus like Wikipedia where it was like a passage from in order to create a similar creature that's not necessarily a homunculus but another creature of like of our flesh and or bone and such, like using our technologies at hand, like they had this series of procedures that you had to do, and including like using milk that you drowned like a bird in or something. Like it was all kinds like all this weird stuff where I was like, it just sounds like witchcraft, but it also sounds like the amount of witchcraft that's too tedious for anyone to like reproduce, But like the homunculus stuff where it was like, oh yeah, just put jizz in an egg and put in some cow poop or whatever, or some horse poop. I could do that. I could totally create a homunculus. Like I have all the technology here except for the horse poop, but there are horses around. I'll find some. I can find some. You don't think I can go on Amazon and order some horse poop? You're mistaken. I can get anything on there. I've seen it. No, but like, how isn't it? If
Jeff
even,
Bezos got me.
but it's like you said though. It feels so Jeff Bezos, but like it feels so tangible, but also too crazy. Like it's just a step too far to actually try. Right? Right?
Yeah. I
Talk
mean,
me out of
is
it,
it?
Steven. Talk me
I'm
down
not
some monkey ledge.
I'm saying we like well, maybe an ostrich egg is too much, but all I know is you need to get a chicken egg that's unfertilized but
Unfertile.
not
Well,
sold at a
not sold
store.
at a store
You'd
for
have to get
sure.
a fresh egg.
It needs to be a fresh egg. Yeah. So
Otherwise it's not alive because
yeah.
they do something.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre, dude. And I've been thinking about it, and I did think like I was coming up with like random ideas. And I'm like, what if it was like our situation where like we always make movies about us and stuff, and I was like, what if my character learns that the homunculus are really naturally good at art? So I was like, wait, it could draw comics for us. Like it could, it's a good sketch.
Draw the panels, little Steven. Draw them.
Like I like to imagine we both make one, and little Steven and little Anthony make their own little podcast. It's just
Yeah, man. Like, I really hate that they just, use us to make their comics. It's like, I don't know.
the Cheeto dust covers my whole body. I can't even take it anymore. Like, it's crazy. Oh, our mom is an ostrich. Why?
Quackula.
Quackula.
Quackula be praised.
All right, dude. But yeah, I had to talk about that stuff.
I love how that wasn't even a monster test. That was just a fucking info dump. Of like,
was.
and no one has the answers to these questions.
We don't, and I'm sorry. We all fail and pass the test, and I'm so sorry. And you're welcome at the same time, dude. Oh my god, it's crazy, right? Isn't that crazy?
So wild.
But since we don't have a wonderful homunculus to do all of our art for us, unfortunately, yet, Stephen, what are you gonna be doing this week?
I'm going to continue to work on page 3 of the comic and then keep moving on.
Awesome. I'm going to do my best to write I'm gonna say 3 pages. I'm gonna write 3 pages this week. Like I'm just making chunks. I'm trying to not be like I'm gonna finish the whole thing this week, although I might do that next week. But
be able to hyper focus on the 3 and get them done. And
yeah, that way I'm just like
good.
I have this designated, like obvious path, and I like that. So I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna try to exercise a little more this week, dude. I've been letting myself not do that. I need to get back.
I get enough exercise. I just need to stop eating crap. I need to start bringing lunch to work and not eating crap while at work.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and then like, dude, like getting sodas and crap like that, like midday because
those
it just sounds so refreshing.
Yeah, it's so convenient. And it feels good, and it's hard. I mean,
but it's so bad, like
it really is. And I'm the same way with like this. Like, we'll do this, and I have to go edit, and I'm like, I'm getting a little hungry. But it's late, and I shouldn't eat anything, and I'm like, I'm not gonna cook, and what am I gonna do? And I just grab chips or something. I'm like,
completely empty calories.
Yeah. And it's like, why am I doing this? And then I'm just going to sit and just edit, and then I'm going to sleep. And I'm like, all right, well, there's no exercising or moving my body there. It's just the chips going, ooh, guess where we are now. I'm like, oh man, come on. But whatever, dude. I just want to try. I'm going to try to exercise a little more. I'm going to try to, I'm going to work on these 3 pages. You're going to get page 3 done, right?
3 will be done, and I want to move on to 4. Like, I do want to start like plugging on these pages. So
heck yeah. That'll be awesome, dude. But if you haven't seen our previous books or read our previous books, check them out at wehaveissuespodcast.com. You can also find a couple of our books on just Amazon. If you want to go on Kindle, you can leave like reviews and stuff. It mean a lot to us. It'd be really cool. But in any case, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Share it with everyone you can. Just know that we really appreciate you being here and really appreciate you sitting through our homunculus TED Talk, because I had to talk about it.
That's strange. I'm gonna look up some stuff as soon as I'm done with this.
You have to, right? Like it's so interesting. I'll tell you. Oh, okay. The one thing I didn't bring up because we're running so long, I watched like a 20-part YouTube video like series where some guy supposedly did the homunculus thing and created like a little creature. I think it's all just like a fun like viral hoax type of thing. It looks good though. Like he did a really good job.
He did a good job. He's doing one of those.
He did a really good job until it gets to one part. Like he does up until like he doesn't. You see like this little weird creature thing, and it's like, oh my god, this is really cool. And then it grows, and it kind of just looks like clay. And I'm like, oh, what sucks is like, what if it just looks like clay? Like, what if like that's just what the creature looks like, and I'm just assuming it looks like clay? I've never done it, like I don't know what a freaking homunculus looks like, but it doesn't look human at all. It's just like a shape that moves, and it's like it is a living creature that he supposedly made, so it's like it's interesting. It's a Russian series, and it has like millions and millions of views, and it's crazy.
Damn.
And I've never heard of it, and because I never thought about homunculus until this. But anyway, what do you want to say to people?
Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting. Thanks for dropping all that love on my wife, because she's incredible and she deserves all the mega appreciation from everyone. Keep watching, and issue 3 we're plugging away on it, and I can't wait for you guys to read it.
Oh, absolutely. But thank you again, and please let us know if you're gonna make your own homunculus at home. We need to see it. We have to see it, and you have to let us name it. And also just know that we love you and we're thankful for you, and just we appreciate you tolerating this. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next time.
Boom. But for the homunculus.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. So he's
not recording, which means it's not a joke, which means you want to divorce me because you hate me.
I'm going to divorce you because he's about to divulge information to me that's going to make me go so crazy that I wouldn't want to put you and the kids through, and I'd have to join him on some sort of Charlie Day yarn pulling like Serpico like situation. It was a joke, baby. I'm sorry. Baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. You know I love you.
I mean, you know how
good, great, leave. I don't get. I was doing Happy Gilmore. What were you saying, baby?
You know how much I love to pull yarn. Can't believe you wouldn't include me.
Honestly, I was gonna get to that, but then we shifted like right as I was gonna say. Honestly though, she'd probably pull some yarn with me. Is what I was actually gonna say that. I was just gonna say.
All right. Well, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you, Mr. Fisher.
Love you.
He says he loves you.
You better.
All right, baby. Every once in a while, Anthony leaves the room and it gives me full control to talk to all of you and say, please go to Anthony's house and free me from the dungeon. I mean, it's obvious he feeds me well, but it's dust on top of his fingers. And I love you all and I want to be free. But I just can't be unless you come to Anthony's house and free me. Free me from the chaos of the cheese finger dungeon. I don't want to live here no more.
You what? You don't want to live there anymore? How dare you? How dare you leave me?
Get back in your
Get back in your cave. I'll get the better Cheetos. I'm sorry.